Rich did a great job. It's tough to lose him. I started with Rich in Atlanta, where he worked mainly doing our runs, helping out our offensive line coach. But he was always a quarterback guy, and that's why I wanted to bring him to San Francisco. And spending 2 years with him, we got a lot closer through that. Got to go through a lot of things together. Rich is a very good coach. He's called plays before, done a number of times in college, and he'll do a very good job with Denver.
As far as your offense here, do you run a scaled down version of it, or do you do something that the rest of the league, would run?
No, yeah, very scaled down, just simple offense. It's very simple defense too. There's a lot of rules in the game where you can't blitz. All the single safety is a 4-man rush, 3 deep, or 4-man rush, man coverage, or they play Tampa 2 if it's 2 shell. So the rules are pretty limited. You can't get in 3-by-1 formations or empty, and you can't motion. So you scale down a bunch and try not to overwhelm these guys so they can enjoy the process.
As far as evaluating the players, say you want to evaluate a receiver, are you able to see what he can do and how he would function in a 49ers?
Yeah, definitely. You can evaluate. Just watching one-on-one, you'll be able to evaluate the receivers, just how they go against man coverage and things like that. And we're with the guys all week, so you get to see how they learn in the meetings and how it carries over to the field. And the advantage of being in something like this for the coaches who get to coach it is, you're not just going off in Indy in an interview at Indy at the combine. You get to be with these guys all week. You get to see how they learn, how they get better in their first practice today till tomorrow. So by the end of the week, at least the guys at the Senior Bowl, you should have a very good feel of who they are as people.
What are the Broncos getting in Rich Gangrel?
They're getting a very good coordinator. He's done it before at the college level. He knows the run game and the pass game. Rich is a very confident coach who will go in there and do a very good job. They're lucky to have him, and it was tough to lose him.
What did you think of what happened at the end of the Saints Rams playoff game? Do you think pass interference is going to?
I'm not sure, but I think that's the same thing everyone else thought. It was obviously pass interference, but they missed it, and that happens a lot. So you get used to it as a coach, and you just kind of got to deal with it sometimes.
Would you like to see that, or would that change things?
No, I'd like to see when things are obvious and everyone in the world knows that you do whatever it takes to get it right.
What do you hope these players take away once this week is over for you and your coaching staff?
It's not as much. I just hope we're here to just help them. We're not trying to teach them our offense or anything like that. We got 3 practices with these guys. They're going to play in a bowl game or an all-star game with guys they haven't played with before. We just want to make them comfortable and give them the best chance to go out and showcase their skills.
Do you feel there's pressure on these players to perform at the highest of levels? Coaches, scouts?
There always is. Whether it's here, whether it's there was always in college too. They just don't realize it. But we're still watching those tapes. So here's another game where they're going to see more tape. It's the same as always, but they might be aware more now. Which when you're more aware, you do feel more pressure. So you try to relax the guys on that. You can't control that. You just hope they go out there and realize. Everyone knows that today's practice is the first day they've done a lot of this stuff. So it's not about how good you do. It's about how much you improve. And guys will struggle a little bit today, and then just as a coach, you'll see if they do better tomorrow, and you see how they handle the week. And you always go back to the tape they've done throughout college.
So you obviously are not the market for a quarterback, but when you're evaluating that position, how important is mobility and playing off schedule versus just having that productivity side?
Depends on the player. How good is he? If he's great at staying in the pocket and playing in the pocket and never leaves and never takes sacks and just picks people apart, then you're not too concerned about how he plays off schedule. If he has a hard time reading defenses and just feeling that pocket and feeling the rush, and usually he won't hang in there and he gets out and tries to make plays, then it is very important. How effective can guys be in the NFL getting outside the pocket and making plays, and those things allow guys to play longer, to where eventually, though, you're going to have to play in the pocket and you're going to have to do both to be successful.
Does height matter as much as maybe it was perceived like 10 or 15 years ago?
Everything matters. There's no absolutes in this game. So, anybody who says you have to be tall, there's a shorter guy to prove you wrong. That's the case with everything. Percentages, you always want to be bigger, stronger, faster, but there's zero absolutes at any position.
Kyle, when did you first get the sense Sean McVay was going to be the kind of guy that made a team this week?
Right when I met him. Sean's been the same since day one when we interviewed him for our quality control job at Washington. So Sean's been the same. I'm very happy for him that he was able to do this. and he'll do a good job in 2 weeks from now. Oh, D'Amico's doing a hell of a job. I was with D'Amico when we drafted him at Houston, way back in the days, second-round pick. Like, that just got better. D'Amico's a hell of a guy, a hell of a player. Was one of my favorite players that I was around. When he came in as a rookie, he was already the leader of our team, and it's been the exact same as a coach.
Coach, how important is it to put some of these kids in situations that maybe they didn't have to do in college in terms of technique this week to see how they might translate to the pro level in certain things?
I think it's very important. There's so many times that you study a receiver and you watch through college, and you can get like 2 clips of them going versus bump man-to-man, so you have a hard time knowing. But it always helps you if you can turn on a bowl game and watch them do one-on-ones from All-Stars. So things like that help a ton. Just the obvious thing with the quarterbacks being under center and things like that. Guys are going to have to do new things at the NFL level. So, but you take it with a grain of salt because it's their first time doing it, so no one's going to be great at it. But you like to see who's more natural at it, who's willing to work at it, who doesn't mind being uncomfortable because they know they're confident enough to know that if you just give them enough time, they'll figure anything out.
How about getting the offensive line to do a three-point stance and see fire them?
Yeah, it's going to take some work, and but that's not just all-star games that you have to do that. That's when you draft a lineman now. It takes a while to change them. He's done a good job in the meetings last night, and that's all I know of him so far. But I liked him as a guy. He was very attentive and he came here ready to work. I was just telling, from a coaching staff, this is about a month before I would normally start studying these guys. So I'll see them for the first time out there in practice, and we got a lot of free time here in the afternoons and stuff. So I'll probably start watching them this week. Well, the bigger you are, usually the harder it is for people to bring you down. The more you can stay in the pocket and not be as affected by arm tackles, especially on your legs. And you can stand in there a little bit stronger. But I've also seen some very small guys do that very well also. So there's a lot more to it.
Last week, both Sean Payton and Sean McVay were talking about how every week during the season they're looking at other good offenses to try to maybe get a play or two. Is that something new, or is that been going on a long time? And how much do you do with it?
No, it's not new. Since they've had computers, the guys do it. So I know they used to try to do it back in the day, but you'd have to know someone to get film. You'd have to splice that up so many different ways to get the cut-ups. Sorting football plays on the computer is like sorting your iTunes. It's not hard, and you just double-click a couple things, and you can study anything you want.
Kyle, how do you feel like your previous experience coaching in the Senior Bowl helps you this week?
Just knowing what to expect. You have no idea what you're getting into unless you've been here. This is my third time coaching here. Obviously, the first time as a head coach, but I've been here a number of times, and I know after being through it that it helps. It's something that my goal is to not come back as a coach. No offense to the Senior Bowl. It's just I'd like to be in the playoffs. But when you finish this week, it's hard to miss on guys that you were with at the Senior Bowl. We all can watch tape and stuff like that, but it's hard to spend the time. Everyone can evaluate the talent, but it's usually the person that separates yourself in the league, and it's very tough to get a good feel for someone on a 15-minute interview at the Combine or a phone call or a quick visit. And when you spend a week with people, you know who they are.
Having faced Jared Goff 4 times over the past couple of seasons, is there anything about him that surprises you that just being able to turn his team?
No, not at all. Since seeing him last year, and watching him run Sean's offense and things like that, he was first pick in the draft, so everyone knows he was real talented coming out. I didn't put a lot of time into him coming out just because I was with Matt Ryan and I knew we weren't drafting a quarterback. But no, just since watching him these last 2 years, he's as balanced and accurate as any quarterback I've seen. He reminds me a lot of Matt Schaub, a guy I had earlier in my career, and he's going to be good for a long time.
Kyle, anyone come to mind that you've had here in the past and ended up having on your team?
Yeah, we got Alfred Morris in particular. He was a late ad for us when we coached us at Washington. I think he came on like a Thursday. I don't think he played very much in the game, but that was the main one that sticks out.
thoughts on the hiring, the Cardinals hiring Cliff Kingsbury, just their young trend, these young coaches coming out. What do you think of that?
I mean, I don't know Cliff, but I got a lot of friends who are friends with him. I hear he's a great guy. I know he's done some good things in college, and I think it's a great opportunity for him. So I know we'll be facing him twice a year, and I'm sure I'll get to know him a little bit here, but I've heard great things about him, and glad he's in the league now.
Kyle, you said you've done this a couple of times. Is there an advantage to being on the field with these guys as opposed to being in the stands watching?
Yeah, I don't know about being on the field, but I'd say being in the meeting rooms. On the field, it's easier to sit and watch it on tape anyways. You can cut it up and really isolate on one guy instead of watching 50 guys running around out there. So I think you get more out of that. But just watching how they work, the type of people they are, seeing them off the field in the meetings, we're getting to teach them and stuff and watch how they respond the first day, and which will be interesting today. But I'm more curious to see how they are in the meetings tomorrow morning, what they learned from today, and the differences in tomorrow compared to the next.
Do you tape your meetings?
I don't tape them, but someone has been. There's been, I don't think the Niners are, but there's been our beat writer, not our beat writers, you guys are beat writers, our studio's doing it. Yeah, that guy. There we go. What? Oh, I was very excited that he became available. He's a guy I've respected for a long time. I've played against his style of coaching for a long time back when I was a coordinator in the AFC South back in, I think, 2008. We used to go against that style of defense. I think Jim Schwartz was the coordinator. They had Washburn as the D-line coach. Hated going against there when they had Vanden Bosch and Hainsworth and Curse, and then they all went to Detroit, and they trained Chris, so he was kind of the guy they brought up in that system, and I hated going against it in Detroit. And Chris didn't go to Philly, but I had to face the same stuff at Philly when they were out there, and I was in Washington. So it's a scheme that's very tough to go against. Not a scheme, a style of play, the way their D-line plays, and I've heard great things about them, and really enjoyed talking to him when we interviewed him. Not much. I mean, every player is different. Every situation is different. So every situation I've had with every single player in 16 years I've been coaching affects every decision. So learned a lot with going through Ruben, some good, some bad, and but that's no different than every other player.
All right.
You guys good?
Anything? Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks.